Hi, guys. Welcome back to Previa Alliance Podcast. This is Sarah.
And Whitney.
And today's episode, we usually plan pretty good in advance, but this was one that we felt that we're not alone in this. And
it literally just came on us.
It just came on. And we're like, this is something we actually just need to put down and get it out to you guys. We can't.
We can't be. I hope we're not, at least.
We're going to we'll find that one out real
At least
quick.
you and I are in the same boat. We're together.
We're together in our ways. But it is talking about expectations of ourselves. Yes. And you may be going, okay, I expect myself to be this kind of mom, wife, friend, all great. Well, sometimes situations or parties, kids' parties, celebrations, you really get to see what you place on yourself and that aftermath.
Right.
So Whitney, clue everybody in. What are we talking about?
So my youngest had her third birthday this past Sunday. So we did her birthday party on Saturday. And just so everybody knows, I'm not a Pinterest mom. I love the idea of it.
We love looking at it.
I do.
We love that vibe.
It would be great. But what I see and what my hands create, it does not work. If y'all have seen those cake pictures online of what you see versus what you get or make, I would be that. And it is the failed Cookie Monster cake that everybody laughs about.
Your gifts are clearly maternal mental health therapists. There is so many.
It is not in making balloon arches and throwing a very extravagant birthday party.
That's okay. That's not
it is.
In your wheelhouse at this moment.
It is not in my wheelhouse. And I don't know if it ever will be because my sister's a graphic designer. My mom can paint and sew and draw. My dad can draw because he's a construction worker. I have zero artistic capabilities.
And
goose egg.
Sometimes I feel like some things.
Those genes got taken by everybody else in my family.
Maybe. I'm not. We'll see how that works out.
Right.
But that's okay though.
Like I can draw a pretty poor stick figure.
Well,
we do what we can.
That's,
Yeah,
thank God for AI creations now, right? Where we just type something in and it now creates these visuals, which is wild.
Yes.
But Whitney had texted me after the party and had said essentially how tired you were.
Oh, I was exhausted because I had a little backstory that Thursday and Friday. I had been in Tuscaloosa, so an hour away for CEUs because I renewed my license this year. And the Board of Social Workers requires us to get at least half of those in face-to-face conferences. So I was doing the normal kid routine, driving an hour to the conference, driving an hour back home. But in the midst of that, cleaning the house, trying to get prepared, trying to decorate, all the things that you got to do. And so you had all of that physical and mental energy going into it. And then the morning of, that's when you go get your balloons filled up and you go get the cupcakes and blah, blah, blah. All that kind of stuff. And you know what? My kid, she loved her party. She got to pick the theme. I gave her all of her options and she chose Spidey and his amazing friends. And I'm here for it.
It's a huge favorite in our house as well.
Oh, yeah. We're big fans. And so thank the Lord for Amazon.
Right.
Because I had ordered decorations a month ago because I was like, you know what? We're going to spread this out. We're going to try and take that off my mental load. I can't imagine if I had not spread it out, how much more exhausted I would have been. But I say that because I'm over here kind of scrutinizing myself.
Yes.
Because it doesn't look like Pinterest. It doesn't look like Instagram. I did not cater food in. I mean, we just ordered pizza and had popsicles and, things like that. So basic food for sure. We didn't have a balloon arch. We did not have like these very aesthetically pleasing bouncy houses. It wasn't this like tan and white and pale pinks and all of that. It was not that at all. And I'm over here like, man, why can't I do that? Why can't I get to that level?
Yeah.
And comparison is a thief of joy.
100%.
And so here I was adding to my mental load. Yeah. Putting more on myself in the midst of all of the party stuff. Here I am adding more or taking away from myself in the midst of all of that.
And you're not alone. There has been this huge, you remember your childhood parties, right?
Right. I remember simple in the 90s.
It was, you get a cake or your mom made a cake. You maybe went out, you and your close family went out, right? You may have been lucky and got to bring a kid, a friend, right? One friend. And that was something special, or cupcakes at church, whatever, right? And now it has blown up to something
huge.
that is insane, that it is almost like these competition wars.
I agree. It is very competitive, and I'm a competitive person.
Same. So even if we ain't trying to be that level,
right,
it is truly saying, like, mom guilt speaks up a little bit. Well,
that's exactly
Johnny's mom did X, Y, and Z, and look at that. Oh my gosh, is that meaning that I'm not enough?
Or are my kids going to get old enough and realize, oh, their cousin got this elaborate party,
right,
and ours wasn't quite to that caliber, and things of that nature. And just to put it out there, like what we did instead of a play place, because they're very expensive.
They're super expensive, and they do that on purpose. And
they do. Now, we've done a Let's Play before when my oldest was 3, so it was 3 years ago. It was cheaper, but honestly, it was easy.
It was easy.
I will say that it's very easy. We ordered our cake from Publix. We got to bring it. They did all the footwork. It was fabulous. I have no complaints about it.
You get like a little party hose.
You really do. They do the footwork, and it is wonderful. But their prices are significantly higher 3 years down the road.
They make you pay for convenience.
They do. They do. And, when my oldest was 3 and she was the only one, we could handle that.
Now you have another. And
now we have another, and it's just different.
And it's a business. And that's something, too, that like you have to take the emotion out of it. This whole, if you even go back to the like Hallmark channel, you go back to the greeting card industry, right? So now this is a business that they play on our emotions. And now that we're moms, where we want to give the best to our kids, we have
we want to give them the world, but also make sure they're not spoiled. It's a weird dynamic.
You can't even think through that. And then we're scrolling. We all do this. Yes. The algorithms, they know. God forbid
they get us.
You click on one thing because you think that looks nice. Then now your feed is showing you
only that.
Only that. So that leads to your thoughts getting worse.
Right.
But what I was telling Whitney off air was saying, look, all that mental load that you did for this party. She started planning a month ahead. You're already thinking about it. You're tracking those Amazon packages. You're ordering the cake. You're ordering the pizza. The face painter.
Yes.
The invitations. Who did we forget? Who's coming?
And
the
how
day
many
of.
do I need for the daycare class?
Exactly. There is so much on that you are doing.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, for anything to make you feel like you didn't give your best, I'm here to say we can't have it.
Right.
I do the same.
So you have to reframe.
You have to reframe. So how did you reframe? Because I know we're not the only ones. And this could be going to like anything in your life that you are seeing comparison of.
Right.
And you're saying, well, I didn't do it that way. Or look at my house. It doesn't look this way.
Right.
Or, if you even want to say what your kids' little lunchbox situations are, that's like, you see that on Instagram.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're like, so now we go to bento boxes. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But then it's now, well, I did, flower-shaped peanut butter and jellies now. It's like even those little things.
It's like the leveling up.
They're coming for us.
Right. Where is the 90s? I miss the 90s. It was so much simpler.
It's like you got a Lunchable, or you're
and my kids love some Lunchables.
Or it's like, here, go and, eat at the cafeteria. And that's what you got. So how do you reframe? Because it's easy to get sucked into,
it is.
I'm not enough. I didn't do enough. I'm trying my best, but I don't want my kids to think it's not the best.
Right. So with that, I actually let myself hold some space.
Yeah.
Because I had those feelings of, we didn't drop $2,000 on this birthday party.
And that's not reasonable or reality for so many people.
Exactly. And that's what I have to remind myself of is, okay, let's just say I had spent that money. Would that have actually given my kids a better experience? Would that genuinely have given them a better experience? She's 3, so it's a coin toss on if she remembers this party.
That's what I was going to say. This is not even probably going to be.
She may not remember this party. Okay?
Right.
And so I had to think about it and, okay, it's not realistic for us to spend that money. Or, if I took it out of savings, I'm going to regret that because
100%.
Something always comes up and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have spent that money. Now I need it to
holidays
fix something on my
coming
car
up,
or whatever.
Illness. You name
life
it.
happens.
Yeah.
Life happens. And so I had to reframe it. Okay, I did the best that I could with the resources that I had. And honestly, the kids loved having their faces painted. Which, by the way, listeners, if y'all ever have the opportunity to hire face painting and it's in your budget, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah.
Because the way this company did it is you just paid for the 2 hours and it was as many paintings.
That's wonderful.
It was unlimited paintings. And so our daughter loved picking out face paintings for us.
Yeah.
We let her pick out what she
Give her
wanted.
control. Mommy gets to be X. Daddy gets to be this. I mean,
like
that's probably what made her party.
Right. She had her face painted up like Spidey. We had a rainbow butterfly on one of her arms. She had Mario on the other one.
Yeah.
My older daughter, again, she got to have a face painting and then got her arms done. All of their little friends got to have face paintings. She wanted me and my husband to be a pirate, so we got the pirate painting on our faces.
It looks great as a pirate, by the way.
Thank you. Ahoy.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And so that was something that I realized, okay, she enjoyed the creative side of that. She enjoyed kind of that freedom of getting to be a kid. And you can have as many face paintings as you want.
Yeah.
Until you run out of skin, you can have it painted.
Yeah.
You can have it. I don't care.
Yeah.
You do you, sister. You pick out all the things that you want. You pick something out for mommy. You get to do those things. And then the other kids enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing, was really seeing their enjoyment out of it. And even my husband's mom, my mother-in-law, she went in there and my daughter was like, Nana, I want you to get this. And so guess what? Nana got her face painted too.
And so
she loved getting to include her grandmother.
And that's what matters. And it's like you go back to it. And we all, you look at Christmas, you look at just in general, we all do it that, at Christmas, you're going to see everybody put on social media.
The living room's filled to the brim with toys.
Right. Or, even the months, I always feel like the holiday months, it just puts so much pressure and expectations. Like
it really does.
The pumpkin patch, check, have we, how many times you're trick-or-treating? What does the costume look like? And then all these things that it goes again to expectations when reality, what are you serving? What are you, like, what are we fighting against? Are we fighting what the culture and society is telling us we should be?
That's a big one.
Are we living that up to that? We're trying to say, hey, I'm equal to the Jones.
This is a different form of keeping up with the Joneses. Yeah. So it may not necessarily look like a bigger house, a fancier car, the clothing, but it's keeping up with the Joneses with what we give to our kids.
Uh-huh.
And I have to tell myself this. I have to reframe this.
Everybody does.
Is we have to be very careful with that, because do we really want our kids to start picking up on that in their young age, and then they compare birthday parties, and it goes one of two ways of, well, my party is so much better than yours because we spent blah, 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 blah money on these things. We do not want to be
raising entitled little...
So they're either bragging about, I spent blah, 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 blah on these things. My parents are better than your parents. So now we're getting into characters. But then the other side of it is, I guess their party was better than mine. I guess I didn't
deserve that, or I didn't want that.
My parents may not love me, when it doesn't come down to love.
No.
But a child can perceive it like that. So ultimately, we do have to protect ourselves, but really we have to protect our kids.
Yeah.
From this mentality. Because my oldest, you know what? She's big enough to pick up on this.
Yeah. Totally.
She is big enough to pick up on this. She understands a little bit of that comparison game.
Yeah.
And she's starting to get competitive of, I win this, I win that. I did this first. So we're already kind of getting into that territory. So I have to be very mindful of what I let out, what I let her observe.
And, I think it's like you find, like we've talked about before in previous podcasts, your huddle person, your bleacher person, right? And it's like finding that huddle person and be like, you know what? I still, at the end of the day, I had this like moment where I felt, was I good enough? Did I do enough?
Yeah.
And it's that person to say, yes, it was amazing. And remind you, your value and worth is not where you get your cupcakes from.
Right.
It's not what that 3-year-old birthday is.
Yes.
It is your character. It's who you are as a person, that your child is loved. And you do that so well. So it's just that moment. But I hope the listeners are hearing it's like, me and Whitney are not immune to what you guys are feeling either. And
just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean I don't have those challenging emotions and I don't struggle with that comparison game.
Because it's so in our face. And
it is.
I think it's when I'm feeling like I'm not good enough.
Right.
which can happen on a given day, given moment, just what came
Multiple
at
times a day.
me. And especially if you're in the postpartum period, you are super vulnerable to this. And as your kids get older, and like Whitney said, they start bringing more things to you and they're more aware, you have to just in your head reframe and say, what am I living for? What is my values and truths? Why am I comparing myself to someone on Instagram?
Right.
Let's be real. They're probably affiliates of some kind of company and making money off of it.
1000%.
And this is a whole cycle to get us to want to do that, to buy the product, to be this. There's nothing wrong with that. People, that's how, a lot of people make money. That's great.
Get it. Yeah.
But call it for what it is.
Right.
And don't let that steal your joy. And don't we don't never want you to go through these moments or events, because we're all going to have this and go, oh my gosh, I wasn't good enough. Yes, you were.
Oh, absolutely.
You showed up. The fact you're even questioning you're good enough tells me that you are good.
That you really want to be there
bad
for
parents
your kids.
don't worry about being good parents. I'm here to tell you that.
Right.
So the fact that you're even questioning it is saying that you are giving your all. And with expectations, are you setting the bar so high for yourself that it's never attainable, that you're never getting
those unrealistic expectations?
And does that maybe come back from childhood?
It can.
It can. Does it come from the comparison game? So this is your challenge. We're challenging you guys. This next event, birthday. You know what?
Holidays.
I even feel this sometimes when you go to a class party, and I'll never forget this one Valentine's Day. I did the Walmart Valentine's. I walked in. I remember this one mom. She monogrammed shirt for everybody in the class.
What? Is that her biz though?
No.
Oh.
That was just her joy.
So it's not like she had resources.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? In-house resources.
No, this was just her joy. And I thought, wow, Sarah, you're not.
Man, that's heavy.
Right? But then that was like the first preschool experience too. Like it was with Will. So now with James, I'm just like, okay, applaud. Good job, Mama. Like,
right.
If I need something monogrammed, I'll holler at you.
Right.
Let me support you. But I was not there.
Right.
With Will when that happened. I just felt like, gosh, I am not up to par.
Right. And it's easy for us to get sucked into that.
Especially when you've already maybe had a hard day.
Right. Well, and I think it's important too, as far as like people to people, mom to mom, I'm going to go ahead and say 98% is not us trying to make somebody else feel bad.
No. And that's something you have to realize. It ain't about you. No one's doing anything really directed to you.
Like she didn't monogram those shirts to make you feel bad.
100% not. That was something that was her talent, her joy.
Right.
And that says more about me, that I felt a certain way than it does about her.
Right.
And I had to do some inner work there.
Right.
But I had to grow and I had to get more confident with who I was as a mom.
Right.
Because let's be honest, no one really knows what we're doing sometimes as a mom. So then it was just that extra little you really aren't what you think you are.
Right.
But that's all those voices. Like you say, a thought is just a thought, right?
It is.
I don't have to hold it.
No. And thoughts are not character flaws.
Right. Totally.
They're not. And whatever you do at Christmas time, whatever you do for preschool parties, whatever you do for birthday parties, those are not character flaws.
No.
You know what? My kids they don't know the difference between Little Caesars pizza and having food catered in.
No, and
they do not understand that difference. I do, because I'm the one paying for it.
That's a big financial difference.
There's a huge financial difference with that. And let me tell you, we did Little Caesars because you know what? It was at least $50 cheaper than all the other pizza places in the area. And I'm also like, it's for a kid's birthday party. Like,
and half the
who
time,
am I impressing?
Half the time with kids too, you will after do a cleanup and you will see like one bite's of pizza, one bite of this,
Lord,
and so then it too, it's just like, let's be realistic here.
Right.
Can you have a private chef? Can you cater everything? Please, if that's in your budget, that fits in your life, that's what you want to do.
Right.
Hey, go for it.
Right.
But if that is causing extra on you, and that is not worth it.
It's not.
So that's your permission too, that, hey,
make it as easy on yourself as you can. And if you want to do the catering, if you want to get vendors for bouncy house or balloon arch or whatever, that's great. You do what works for you and your family. If it's not in your budget like us, do what works for your family.
And we've actually moved towards trying to get Will experiences.
Oh, yes.
Versus parties and events.
We do that for Christmas.
And a doctor I worked with in Boston, she did this. And she did for so many years. Her kids was teenagers now. And they loved it. And it was one of those things that they did it as a family. It was a memory.
Yep.
And then she's like, it helped take the comparison factors away because then at certain ages they go, well, I got this for Christmas. What did you get at school? And it's like, I always go on this, or we go and we go to the lake, we go to this.
Right. We're doing Disney on Ice in October as one of our Christmas gifts for the girls because they're going to love it.
We did that with Paw Patrol for Will.
Yeah.
And it was fabulous. He still talks about it.
Yeah.
So even thinking like things besides materialistic items, no one tells
Memories
you.
over materials.
Yeah, no one tells you. There's no rule book.
No.
So like just because whole society is like, you got to have 15 balloon arches, your custom cake, cookies,
Yeah.
No one tells you have to do that.
Also, here's a little fun fact for all you listeners out there. If y'all want to save a little bit of money, if you're doing cupcakes, just get whatever color frosted cupcakes you want from Publix, and then just buy the plastic rings that are themed for whatever your party.
Off Amazon.
Off Amazon. Stick them in the cupcakes. Boom.
We all do it.
We had Spider-Man themed cupcakes, and we paid significantly less.
Yes, because
than if we bought Spidey from the store.
If you got that from Publix, you're adding.
Oh, it would have been so much more.
And for what? And again, they're just going to rip those babies off.
Oh, yeah. The first thing my oldest one was like, oh, Mommy, can I have the spider ring? I was like, yeah, baby. And she goes and licks the frosting off, sticks it on her pinky, goes on about her business.
So that is, again, we're just here to say we're not immune to this mom guilt expectations. Whitney and I both struggle with setting high expectations for ourselves. We have to reframe.
Might be the Enneagram 1 in us.
Possibly. And we love control too. So, you know.
It's the type A.
We've got a lot we're fighting against with this. But we're here to say, you guys do not fall victim to what society is telling you your birthday party should be, your lunchbox food should be, your Christmas should be, anything should be.
Right.
Just know you are doing your best. And if you in your heart gave your best and you're loved, your kids loved, you're a great mom.
Exactly.
And that's all we got.
They know it.
All right, guys. So cheers on.
Right.
Good luck planning these things.
Reframe when you need to reframe, and then hold space when you need to hold space.
And find that person that you're like, you know what? I still felt a little crappy after this, or I still compared myself, and they need to check you in a polite way and say, you're awesome.
Right.
And
I texted Sarah and I said, I am exhausted.
Physically
and mentally. So drained after that. It literally took like 3 days to bounce back physically. I felt like
100%.
I thought I was coming down with something. No, I was tired. I was exhausted.
Yeah. Because you tell me this, right? So like your body also carries it.
It does.
Your body is carrying that stress, that expectations, that heaviness.
Right.
So that's why you felt that way.
Absolutely. It needed a chance to get released.
We got you out.
That's right.
All right, guys. Till next time.
See ya.
Maternal mental health is as important as physical health. The Previa Alliance podcast was created for and by moms dealing with postpartum depression and all its variables like anxiety, anger, and even apathy. Hosted by CEO, founder Sarah Parkhurst and licensed clinical social worker Whitney Gay, each episode focuses on specific issues relevant to pregnancy and postpartum. Join us and hear how other moms have overcome mental health challenges, as well as access tips and suggestions on dealing with your own challenges as moms. You can also browse our podcast library and listen to previous episodes at any time. Please know you're not alone on this journey. We're here to help.